YouTube! What the fuck the vibes is, man? 2 weeks. 2 weeks without it. 2 weeks without reactions, man. I've been locked in on the RP. If y'all want to see me live in the flesh, man, go to Aintchutrent live on TikTok. But we gonna get straight into this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what y'all want me to react to next. And what y'all think about this video. We got inside of Jacksonville police drug raid from Tommy G himself, man. Let's do it.
What does it mean to you to be taking drugs off the street?
It means a lot. We try to keep our community safe. We'll do whatever it takes to enforce the law and take drugs off the street.
Right here,
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
That one should be second block on the right.
Brown, hey, watch this car, watch this car.
Sheriff's office, search warrant!
Stop running!
It's 1:20 on a Saturday, and we're responding to the scene of an overdose.
Oh, fuck. I didn't want to hear that
What you
music.
just witnessed was an operation from Jacksonville's undercover narcotics unit raiding the house of a suspected drug dealer. You also just saw a snippet of their overdose team investigating a drug-induced death to see if there's a drug dealer that they need to find and charge with a homicide. Currently, Jacksonville law enforcement is receiving nationwide attention for things like cutting their county's homicide rate in half over a 1-year period and employing state-of-the-art crime-fighting technology. For a few days, me and the boys embedded with Jacksonville Sheriff's Office to see their methods in action. This video is part 1 of a 3-part series we are releasing, with part 1 focusing on how Jacksonville fights drug-related crime, and for part 2 we will be on a night patrol with cops and K9 units, and for part 3 we will be looking into how their SWAT team and gang task force tackles murders and gang violence. This, folks, is unprecedented access that we are proud to bring to you. Let's get to it.
Folks, we are pulling up on an undercover drug raid. There's a drug task force here in Jacksonville that is really trying to crack down on fentanyl and the problems that drugs bring into a community. This is a blood pumping type of experience. This is something where you breach a door and someone resists. There could be shots fired. You might have to bring in SWAT. You might have to, it's a high pressure job. Let's go in and check this out and see what the next step is.
We were walking into an office where undercover officers work and where their top secret operations were planned. So we were instructed to keep the cameras low until it was time to move out on this raid.
So I'm Lieutenant Manna with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Narcotics Unit. I'm over narcotics and vice.
And what's the operation today? What are we looking for?
Today we have a search warrant for a drug house. We conducted several buys from the property, and we know they're selling drugs from inside the house. And
What
we
kind?
are going to Avenue. It's on the west side of town.
Is there a particular drug we're looking for?
We conducted several buys. We bought crack cocaine from there.
How many drug raids do you think you've been on in your day?
2, 3 a week.
Do we know if the guy living here has many firearms?
We haven't seen any, because if we did, it would qualify for SWAT. So the guys, the job they do is very dangerous, especially the first person inside the property, because you just don't know what's behind the closed doors.
If you need to throw one of us in as human bait to make the operation go through, just we'll draw straws as a crew.
All right, let's go.
What does it mean to you to be taking drugs off the street?
It means a lot. We try to keep our community safe, and obviously this is a vicious circle with supply versus demand, but we'll do whatever it takes to enforce the law and take drugs off the street.
Do you think you'll ever completely wipe drugs off the street?
Have everybody windows down.
I think you can put a dent to it. I don't think you can wipe it off completely, because there are some, for instance, marijuana is legal in certain states. It's a very tough challenge. Again, it's a vicious circle. It's supply versus demand.
Where's that guy going right there?
He's going in?
Yep, he's going to the door.
All right.
Okay, yep, we're gonna take them too.
It's right here, isn't it?
Yep, it's that one. Should be second block on the right.
Door looks to
Towards Brown. Hey, watch this car. Watch this car.
Sheriff's office, search warrant.
There's somebody running in the back door.
I got two, gray jacket, black pants, another one. They're running, they ran out of the apartment complex.
Stop running!
I got one. The other one with the gray hoodie, I don't know where he is.
Stop running! 4 Bravo Mike's flooding in the back.
Those got little. Why he stop running?
Undo your handcuffs? Loosen it. I can fit a finger in between there, buddy. That's kind of what we got to do.
Hi, y'all ready? So in this case, we got a bunch of crack cocaine. We have a lot of powder cocaine. We got some beakers, a bunch of drug paraphernalia, scales. So obviously we got to say that was successful.
Is crack cocaine as common as it was in early 2000s?
It still is, I would say, crack cocaine, yeah.
How would you classify this bust? Small, medium, large?
Probably a medium scale to small, small to medium.
How many people in custody?
So far, 3. And obviously we have a baby now, so we're trying to get hold of the mother. Apparently she's at work, so she'll be coming back.
What goes through your head when you see a baby inside one of those houses?
You won't be the first. A lot of times, so we we hold the baby, we assist, and then what we do is trying to reunite the baby with the parents. And apparently that's the father, who's the mother, is at work. Since the father is going to be arrested, then the mother will respond to take control of her child.
Do they feel like, I'm glad that this is happening, that they got busted?
Absolutely, absolutely. We get feedback all the time. They don't like these guys. They don't want them here in their neighborhood.
Do they make them dangerous?
Yeah, they don't want drugs in their neighborhoods.
In the last year, Jacksonville Sheriff's
Cap.
Office has fielded over 5,000 calls for service for drug-related incidents. And in a 2024 survey of Jacksonville residents, next to gun violence, illegal drug usage was the top issue residents wanted the Sheriff's Office to focus their resources on.
A lot of times they are afraid, and the ones they step up, they give us complaints and information. We work every complaint that we get.
I mean, to live in a place where dangerous guys with guns are in and out all the time, and junkies are coming, and you have kids around here.
And this is just the preliminary search. Obviously, they go into details to search the property. And typically on the secondary search, they find additional drug paraphernalia and additional drugs.
Our overdose deaths are down significantly year over year here.
This is Vic Michelucci. Previously, he was a Jacksonville investigative journalist who won Crime Reporter of the Year. He left his 14-year career to run communications and media for the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and he is the one that opened up the doors for us to be here today.
Fewer people are dying.
And this is just one part of that initiative,
Yeah,
or
this
that
is a
push.
part of that.
Yeah.
But as you saw with that situation, not only did they find drugs, they found at least one gun. And a lot of times when you see drug sales, you see firearms, and that leads to violence.
The murder that comes with the marijuana trade. I'm gonna tell you, I've worked murders where a pound of marijuana was stolen, and people get killed for it. It may not seem like a big deal to the populace or to people that are advocates for marijuana, but that's a big deal. One life, I always say to everybody, is too many.
Look, there was that kid in there. I mean, that kid was, what, maybe 1?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any excuse for that.
Yeah,
Whether you're dealing drugs, doing drugs, around people that are doing drugs, to expose that child there. And we've had multiple issues of accidental overdoses with kids. put that out, and thankfully, the most recent instances, our officers were able to save those kids. But imagine having to give Narcan to a 1-year-old.
We just got to watch a successful raid take down an armed crack dealer, but Jacksonville's war on drugs has another side to it, the overdose task force. Whether we'd meet them this trip depended on one thing, an overdose happening while we were in town. Early Saturday afternoon, that call came in.
So we've been on standby the 4 days we've been in Jacksonville for when an overdose happens, we're gonna get the call. Unfortunately, it's 1:20 on a Saturday, and we're responding to the scene of an overdose. This is hard to walk into. I mean, you're walking into a family's worst nightmare with cameras, and we want to be respectful of what they're experiencing, but also convey something that happens every day around America in a real way. So, we'll see you on the scene.
Right now the victim is still present, so we're gonna allow you guys to come in, just kind of keep a distance. We'll be collecting a bunch of things. I think that would be very good, and like as far as the recording and stuff.
Who are you and what do you do? What's your role?
So I am Sergeant Kay Cruz. I am with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I'm a part of the Narcotics Overdose Death Investigations Unit.
We are allowed to cross the threshold and film inside the Valley?
Yeah. Just
because
don't.
we have consent from the family?
Yeah, and then that's also why I was speaking to the next of kin, because I didn't want her to be like, why is media here? So I was explaining to her the reasoning for you guys being here and like helping, produce information to give out to the public to hopefully prevent future overdoses for overdose awareness.
As you enter a scene, what are you looking for? What are you gonna?
So the very beginning of our investigation is the patrol response. Anytime patrol responds to a undetermined death, depending on the evidence on scene, determines what unit will come out to conduct the death investigation. The initial investigation, we're unable to determine what the actual cause of death is. When we respond to the scene, there's kind of two different investigations going on. You have your medical examiner's office investigation, and you also have your Jacksonville Sheriff's Office investigation. The medical examiner's office will do all the medical related stuff. So they're doing the toxicology, and they're actually going to determine the actual cause of death. We are conducting the Sheriff's Office investigation. So with any individual, or if an individual provides a controlled substance to an individual that is a substantial factor in their death, they can be held liable.
And we know that, we're trying to figure that out?
We're trying to figure that out. Again, very initial stages of the investigation. We're processing the scene with the crime scene unit. And also we're working with the medical examiner's office. We're collecting any evidence that may assist our investigation.
What has you wearing a mask to the scene?
We wear those to protect our identities because a lot of us work in an undercover capacity, so that's why we wear the mask, because we're out in the public. So we just try to conceal our identities from members of the public, because you never know if someone here at the scene provided drugs to the victim, or if any of these people could potentially be a suspect or a drug dealer for a case that we encounter later.
Is it possible that you might find the dealer, you might do an undercover buy from the same dealer that sold here?
Yes, it's possible.
Because that way you're familiar with the case.
Yes.
Have you ever been in a sketchy situation?
A lot of them.
Explain one of them.
I've been locked in hotel rooms with drug dealers before. Sometimes they'll do that to make sure no one's coming in behind you, so you're in there with them trying to buy drugs, and they'll lock the doors behind you. They have guns on them. They have drugs there. There was a case in Miami recently where they made an undercover actually smoke fentanyl just to say that he wasn't an undercover.
Did he pass away?
No, he did not.
What she's referring to is an insane story that just happened a couple weeks ago. A Miami fentanyl dealer got suspicious of an undercover agent and gave the guy two options. You either smoke this fentanyl and die, or I'm gonna kill you anyways. Terrified, the agent had no choice but to hit the Chinese import in front of the dealer. Somehow he survived, and SWAT raided these guys soon after. And it just goes to highlight the incredible danger of this undercover profession.
I've had drug dealers before try to get me to smoke drugs, and it's just, it can be pretty dangerous and sketchy. Pretty much this entire career is pretty dangerous.
What got you into it?
When I was little, I really liked the show Cops. Okay, and I'm not from Jacksonville, but when I was little, I used to watch the episodes, and I remember as a kid seeing the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office episodes and being like, that area in particular, I don't know why, stuck with me, and I was like, that looks like a pretty crazy place to live or work or whatever.
We talked to, prior to making entry, we're talking to patrol to provide us with their information that they collected upon their initial response. We're talking to any next of kins that are on scene, and we're also talking to any complainants or witnesses. We're just trying to gather what happened before police were called to the scene. For this particular structure, the room where the victim was located is from the back. You guys can follow me and we'll go inside.
What are the primary things we're looking for? Where are your eyes going right now?
So eyes are going in the immediate area where the victim was located, but also like common areas of the house, living room, bathroom. We're checking for any paraphernalia, narcotics related, and any additional narcotics or any paraphernalia to even include like little bags that have been packaging for narcotics. I've been working narcotics related investigations for a little over 7 years now. I've been working narcotics overdose death investigations for approximately 3.5, 4 years.
What got you into the overdose unit?
I enjoyed working narcotics investigations. I noticed that before the creation of this unit, homicide was responding to these types of investigations. And prior, this was kind of before we fell under the Florida State statute of murder. Once we started falling under that Florida State statute, we were able to dig deeper into different types of investigations.
Florida lawmakers are not alone in expressing the sentiment that a drug dealer should be subjected to harsh penalties, particularly if they can be tied to an overdose death. In fact, just recently, Trump made headlines again by stating his long-term position that drug dealers should receive the death penalty.
Unless you have the death penalty for drug dealers, you'll never get rid of the drug problem. Put that through your head.
As someone who knows the drug dealing black market much better than Trump, I think the numbers he's throwing out are extreme exaggerations that have no root or basis in fact.
A drug dealer will kill 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people during the course of his or her life.
It really depends on what someone's selling. If someone has sold fentanyl, obviously they have a much higher chance of causing an overdose death. But for some guy trapped in weed, it is actually impossible that anyone has died as a result of his drug. It says on the DEA's own website that no one has overdosed from marijuana, and yet it's still a Schedule I drug. However, I do agree that a drug dealer needs to be held liable if what he sells kills someone. The question is, to what extent? What do you guys think in the comments? Should a drug dealer be given a death sentence if they cause an overdose death?
I found interest in not only giving closure to the family of the victims, but putting all the pieces together to try and determine who actually sold illegal drugs to the victim.
How many calls like this a week do you typically respond to?
The overdoses, they come in waves. There are times that we can get 10 in a week. There are times that we can get 0. There's no way to determine how many call-outs a week that we're going to get. Crime scene units here, the narcotics overdose detectives are here. They are taking photographs, they're looking around, pointing out or trying to locate any evidence that may be narcotics related. They are waiting for the medical examiner's office to arrive. Once the medical examiner's office arrives, that's kind of where we're now dividing it to like 2 investigations, but we work very close together. Like I said, I think the more information we get out there to the public, make aware that it's not only fentanyl. Yes, fentanyl, that's what we're hearing in the news. It's a dangerous, deadly drug, but any illegal substance can cause a death.
Well, thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you.
Some Americans would say, hey, alcohol is legal. Alcohol has a lot of problems. I mean, if you look at domestic disputes, violence, fights, drunkenness, DUIs, that's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. Why should weed be any different?
Because why add to it? But why add to the problem that alcohol already causes?
Because prohibition doesn't work. The war on drugs has not solved since the 70s the issues of drugs in our community.
So let me ask you this question. Because we should legalize marijuana because people like to smoke it, we should legalize cocaine, methamphetamine, we should legalize fentanyl, we should legalize all those things? No, of course not. Just because people like it, there are certain things that you just shouldn't do, and I think the government should uphold a standard.
So what gave you reason to believe that this could be a narcotic overdose in the first place?
So, based off the evidence that is located at the scene of a death, so for this particular incident, there is narcotics paraphernalia and additional narcotics on scene. We cannot on scene determine the cause of death. That will be for the medical examiner's office investigation. Because of the evidence that is located on the scene, we want to get a jump start on our investigation. So the van actually pulled up super close, and we're keeping family further out, so it should be okay.
I don't know how you guys do this day in and day out. I suppose just like anything.
The more that you
adapt
see it, the more that you adapt to it. And like I said, with these investigations, it affects the family more than anything. I think this just goes to show how one death can affect so many people. It's such a ripple effect. Right. As you hear the family in the background, I think this goes to highlight, I would not have the stomach for this type of job. And there's the fact that people like you are boots on the ground and see some of this, look death in the face almost on a daily basis sometimes, and have to deal with families and all the thing that come with it. I mean, right, I will say that making that next of kin notification is the worst part about our job, because we're having to tell a loved one that their loved one is no longer here. What I've seen in my own family, and there's not one person with the reach drugs has. You could be in a mansion or you could be in the poorest of the poor. There's not one family in America that probably doesn't have some impact of drugs hitting their family or alcoholism hitting their family. Right. It's just such a heavy job. And then this is the other thing is, I think like this gives me perspective too, because sometimes it's easy to look at a dealer and be like, oh, he grew up in a messed up neighborhood with a messed up childhood and he's just trying to make some money to put rent on, to pay the rent. But then when it has the impact like this, that makes an entire family gather and cry, then you have a little bit more of a, well, when they get raided, you know why. The drug dealers know. They know that they are selling this deadly drug. They know what they are selling, so that is why they should be held accountable for what they are selling. And every single person has that voice inside their heart that knows when something is right or wrong. And to override that just so you can pay rent, even though you can cause devastation to an entire family. And one dealer might have, do you encounter multiple dealers? Customers. Do you ever encounter dealers that you guys arrest that are tied to multiple deaths? Yes. Yeah, this really helped me change my perspective on drug dealing. I mean, there's so much that comes with this. There's family members that have to pay for the funeral. There's how many people had to call off work to leave here and come. There's people that their lives can be permanently altered by the grief. I mean, I've seen that in my own family very well. Just in today's episode. You wake up, bruh. A dad is selling crack cocaine next to his baby, and then we land at this scene over here when he's passed away and the family's crying. Like, you gotta raise your standards a little bit. It makes me thankful, for the detectives that have to collect bodies and investigate, and then the people that have to risk their life to go undercover to do the work to catch these guys. That's more of a risk than most of us are willing to take. It's an honest job, it pays the bills, and these are people that go to bat for us in our community. So, really interesting perspective of how Jacksonville is fighting the flow of drugs through the city. That was a deep dive into the world of Jacksonville crime fighting on the drug division, their narcotics division. Thank you for joining. The support's amazing. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Folks, you just saw a glimpse of what Jacksonville law enforcement does. And next week, we'll dive even deeper, doing a night patrol episode that involves a kidnapping call, going out on a mission with a K9 unit, catching a live burglary in action, and much, much more. We will also take a deeper look at the secret sauce that has driven Jacksonville to be a place where the homicide rate has dropped in half, something that is nearly unheard of across the country. And folks, a reminder, if you want to pick up the freshest merch on YouTube with the Underworld collection and the Big Dogs Gotta Eat collection, my website link is in the description. And finally, if you want to become a Patreon subscriber for extended cuts, exclusive clips, and see things weeks before the episode drops, that is also in the description. Both greatly help support the channel, and I am grateful for your support. Love you guys. See you next week.
Let me know in the comment section down below what y'all think about this video. My apologies for falling asleep during this bitch, man. I ain't gonna lie. I've been out all damn tag, and but I'm gonna see y'all in the next reaction video, man. We gone.